Yes.
Hey,
Uh,
we're live.
we're live again.
Hey.
Let's go. I don't know if we're synced because I was reading,
Hopefully we're synced.
so I wasn't paying attention. Here, you want to sync right now?
Yeah. Let's do it
What's
again
your
on
timer at?
broadcast. I'm at 39, 38,
Oh, sick. We're
37.
live.
Hell
Good
yeah.
thing. So, welcome back. Woo! Valkyries are playing again. They just won 7-1 against Talentless on Bank. But now they have a much tougher opponent. Gugu Dolls, made up of Goddess, who played in Pro League, Marmalade, who currently plays in Challenger League, Burb, who has played in various T3 leagues, including ESA, as well as Turler and Lauren, who are Diamond. If I'm not very one of the very few, two of the very few diamonds in this league. So Gugu Dolls are a pretty stacked roster, and they also won CCSW. So quite the challenge for Valkyries.
They did look good in the last game. I mean, I haven't followed a single match so far this season, I must admit. But just in watching that match on Bank, Valkyries, they were very dominant. It seemed like they were in control the entire time. Maybe they can use that momentum and ride on into a more standard and well-played map like Clubhouse.
It's definitely possible. You know, Clubhouse is a map where conceivably weaker teams can get a boost because everyone knows Clubhouse. It's a fundamental map. It's kind of like you
Great
know,
equalizer.
it's kind of like how Border used to be. It's kind of like how old Oregon used to be and how New Oregon kind of actually is now that people have really figured that out. So Clubhouse should be an interesting concept or what was it? Contest. That
Yeah,
was the word I
there
was
it is.
looking for. Um, I know Goo Goo Dolls gets defense first, which is typically the advantageous side on this map. But again, we kind of, I hate to say this because it sounds mean, but we kind of have to take the Valkyries win with a grain of salt because Talentless have not gotten a win yet. And Valkyries' only other win was also against a team who, to my knowledge, only has one win, maybe none. So Valkyrie's first couple games have been against, or their wins have been against, again, conceivably weaker teams, whereas Goo Goo Dolls have beat, I think they beat SH. They've beat a couple of heavy hitters, and again, they won CCSW. So, this should be, in theory, a shoe in for Goo Goo Dolls. In theory.
In theory. But again, it's Clubhouse, so that could be
Yeah.
interesting to see. Of course, we still got to wait for everyone to get in the lobby, get everyone trickling in here. Um, but I'm hoping Valkyries put up a good fight. You know, my first project, Eris cast, wanted to have some spice.
Yeah.
Have you been doing a lot of these community casts? Have you been getting in there?
Um, yeah, I've been doing a decent bit. This is my second time casting Goo Goo Dolls. I remember their other game they completely rolled another team, which is understandable considering, uh, again the pedigree of the people on this team.
Hmm.
Um, Valkyries have looked, good at times, bad at others. They're kind of a mixed bag. So we're definitely going to need, the Valkyries we just saw in Bank if they want to step up to Goo Goo Dolls. I think definitely right now the favorites to win the league are probably Goo Goo Dolls and what's the other team called? Girl Boss, which is that's Terra's team.
Ah, okay.
Terra's team has
Yeah.
I think in what was it in four games Terra's team is a plus 19 round differential, and in 3 games Goo Goo Dolls has plus 14. So they've been kind of just rolling everybody. But we do have all 10 in the lobby, so hopefully we'll get into the game soon.
Yeah, gotta make sure that Moz is in order though. Last time had a
Yeah.
bit of delay because of that, but seems like we are good to go. And a lot of good energy in the lobby. I know you guys can't hear that, but we heard some kind remarks from the Valkyries. So um, hopefully this should be a good one. Marmalade, of course, claiming she's not running Moss. Um, that's never a good sign. But I'm sure that's gonna be handled. Um, so the Google Dolls can get into this one. We said that they're starting on attack, right? Google Dolls
I don't remember.
or defense? I think
Their
you said
defense. Their
their
defense.
defense. Okay, so they'll be starting things off. Um, hopefully strong on that side. Valkyries will have their work cut out for them right at the get go, and I guess probably that will make or break the map, I suppose, because they're already fighting from, like you said, a bit of that disadvantage. So to see if they can put up some sort of strong attacking side will be pretty important. Actually, I haven't casted Clubhouse since the changes we saw to bar and stock the whole now double
Oh
bar
yeah,
area. So that should be interesting. Maybe we'll get to see that site played.
yeah. I actually forgot about there's that new doorway in bar. The bomb site now instead of stock is on stage. Um, Not a whole lot of other changes to the map. I know the strip, like that single wall into bar is now hard. You can't reinforce or blow that up. There's also, what was it? I know in generator, like there's no longer that slat, like that tiny pixel that you can get on the stairs. They took that away. There's a lot of
Oh,
very
that's a
very
big one.
minor changes other than the bar bomb site. But it doesn't play out too differently. I know teams have attempted bar to middling success. But the first ban from Goo Goo Dolls will be the Maverick, one of two very standard bans. Usually it's either the Maverick or the Thatcher, and even sometimes both.
Yeah, as we'll see coming out here, the Jackal to be that second ban, which is definitely more interesting. Not something we would expect to see, but something that often teams will do if they want to remove some aggression potential from their opponents. They want to have maybe a stronger roam. Maybe we'll see some sort of extension, maybe even that, of course, patented SSG style roam on this map. Valkyrie, the next band to follow. Pretty standard there and almost essential on all maps, really, if you want to be a little bit safer on the attacking side. But here on Clubhouse, it's a bit more interesting because generally we see more bands like that Kaid. We see bands focused on that wall denial, but instead we've got the Valkyrie and now the Legion. So we're getting a bit interesting here, taking off the Jackal and the Legion, two bands that we actually rarely get to see in competitive play.
Yeah, the Jackal ban. I don't know, but Burb joking, no e-girl ups here because we all know the meme that girls in this game, oh, they only know how to play Jackal and Legion, whatever. Um, I think that's actually also extended to, I think, like, what is it, Ace and Capcan, I think.
I didn't even
I don't
know
know.
that was a thing, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a very very popular joke that has been around. Oh, dude, it has been around literally forever. But the first site is going to be Church and Jonah. We get a Thunderbird in the mix, as well as the Mozzie and the Alibi. So this could be a light roam fallback strategy. The Mozzie and the Alibi take fights upstairs, maybe even the Jaeger. They deal damage, they fall back to the site, and boom, they're healed because of Thunderbird. Who knows? I'm very excited to see how they play with that. Of course, Thunderbird herself is also a 3-speed operator. She's got the choice of impacts of C4, and look at how much C4 there is. Despite this being a clubhouse basement defense, there are 3 C4s on the board.
Yeah, that's something like you might see on Kitchen and Dining on Villa. More reserved for those sites with all of that soft destruction potential. You add a Pulse in the mix, you add all of that intel. But it's interesting to see that given we don't have a Pulse and we don't have a Valkyrie, someone who is a crucial component in typically getting all that intel for your C4s to actually find those targets. Of course, you can always use them as rotation holes, just use them to deny the plant when it comes down to it. But the odds that you're going to have 3 players in position all ready to throw that C4 and deny that plant, they're pretty low. So I'm interested to see how the Goo Goo Dolls are going to make that work. But really, the Thunderbird, that's what I'm super excited to see. Great to see her in the mix and see how, Turler's going to want to use those little med stations, try to assist those more strong anchor positions that you could say. One that we can expect Goddess is going to sit tucked behind as the Mira, but it looks like
All
we've
right.
already got some action. A roam coming out from Turler. After putting down those med packs, she said, you know what? I'm going to get the heck out of Dodge. I'm going to go roaming on this top floor. And the 2 opening frags, shutting down the Buck and the Zero. That's Bear and Zeal, respectively. Won't have an impact at all in round number 1.
Yeah, Turler, I guess, maybe not droned out. The Buck of Bear just tried to shotgun her way in. and it ended up really biting her, and Turler's going to be looking for more all the way over towards Dirt. She'll hear the drone peek out just at the right time, and down goes Val, a 3K for Turler already, and we are only a minute 5 in. And that's pretty much how Turler plays. You know, she is known as a very proficient fragger in the women's leagues, and she is displaying that. There's still 2 more roamers, right? There's the Alibi, and there's the Mozzie. And they both have 1.5s and pretty much the same gun, only Alibis has more ammo. Psyche, very afraid of that angle, will end up catching Burb, who gets, you know, overstays her welcome towards that window. Burb, obviously not very happy about that. So, you know, that's 1 kill back for the attack, but they've still got to walk into a 4v2.
Yeah, this one not looking great. Psyche hoping that maybe this Claymore can get some sort of miracle kill here, but instead they're just going to sit back and wait for Gugu Dolls to get aggressive, and that they are. You've got somebody swinging out from stock, and Marmalade is going to hit the shot of her life. A beautiful shot with the 416 right through the excavator. That says a swift goodnight to Ancient One, and that's going to leave Psyche all alone. The Claymore I talked about, that's going to bear some fruit finding Turler, but Goddess is right behind, who will hop out, continue that aggression, and finish off the round for Gugu Dolls. That's 1-0 to start.
I also have to, like, the Claymore got a kill, and Clubhouse, you know, Claymores, we tend to see a lot on this map. But you typically only see 1. I don't really know why there were 2 on both the Thatcher and the Ace. Usually maybe the Thatcher will take breaching charges along with the Ash or whatever. They had the redundancy of the Buck, so it's whatever. I also got a question to pick of the Zero. Not the most popular operator on Clubhouse for a reason, because there's just other ones that you need more than him. For example, that Hibana that Zeal is going to switch onto, which I'm very glad to see. And because there's no Maverick, we're going to see Bandit. Bandit tricking back in the game, and Goddess, in fact, is running the M870 on him.
So maybe continuing to get a bit spicy here. But I am looking forward to seeing this Bandit tricking in play. It's something that used to be a staple of this game. You used to see it on so many different sites, on so many different maps, but now it's something that honestly we rarely get to see. So I do appreciate these rounds a little bit more. It's hard to pull off right. It's hard to get successful considering all of the, you know, different ways that hard breachers can now open up the wall, considering all of the new utility added to the game, and also considering that sometimes mute is just a better option. Of course, his mute jammers have been, I guess you could say, nerfed a little bit. The radius of that jammer turned from that cylindrical shape to a sphere, not fully covering some walls. But for now, I don't think the Gugu Dolls are thinking too much about that bandit tricking, though. They're just playing aggressive, and they are eager to frag. Marmalade, the first player to swing outside on that garage door, taking down Ancient One right off the bat, and to lose your Thatcher like that so early in the round, one of your key support players, and likely one of your most important operators to deal with Goddess and that bandit trick, they're gone. And that's going to be a problem, especially now that you've also lost your secondary hard breachers. Zeal is gone. The Hibana, those X-Kairos pellets cannot be a factor as well.
And all that damage being done to Marmalade, a little bit will be alleviated, and I wouldn't be surprised if she eventually gets fully healed by those Thunderbird stations, the Kona stations, as they're called. Unfortunately for the defense, their Rafters player of Bird will be felled. Val will attempt to try move in and take the control, but it's too late. Somebody else in the defense has already rotated in as Turler finds a kill on the bear. Down goes your Sledge. She's now the man in, or well, rather the woman in Rafters, supported by Goddess below as well. You've even got Lauren inside of Secret contesting the window that Val is attempting to peek. Val looking like she might actually be lagging a little bit there. She'll deal a lot of good damage onto Lauren, but Throny still wins out, and Marmalade ends up getting a 3K, finishing Psyche off, and a second round in a row for Gugu Dolls.
Well, that is 2 rounds, decisive rounds, I might add, from Gugu Dolls, and you can just see the confidence that's building round after round. And coming into this one, we did say that if Valkyries can't come out exceptionally strong on attack, they are going to be in for maybe, I don't know, not the most fun time of their lives. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing. And wow, the confidence of Gugu Dolls on full display. You can see it in their gameplay, but now you can also see it in the objective, they're choosing to defend. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at bar and stage for our next site. This is going to be interesting.
Attackers need to locate and
Yeah, we haven't seen this defended all too much so far, and again, the very few times we've seen it, it's a real coin toss. And I guess, you know, like you said, it speaks to just the confidence that Gugu Dolls have in this match. Interested to see how they hold it. So they've got to rotate into the kitchen hallway. I imagine maybe Marmalade is going to be the one playing there. Maybe they have a shield placed over there. I'm not quite sure. They're, of course, still going to be opening up underneath stock just to make it a difficult entry point for any attacker attempting to push in. They'll probably hold top floor as well. Top floor is pretty important when it comes to a bar stage hold, as it was when it was bar stock. Especially holding down like gym. You can use the gym hatch to stop any push coming through pool. You can use you know, control of cache and control of garage to try and stop stock and secret-sided pushes. So the upstairs is very important, and they will be holding it at least a little bit with Lauren up here as the Oryx. And I'm really curious as to how Valkyries, a much less experienced roster, decides to take this.
Yeah, this is going to be a perplexing setup to really come up against, especially for a team that has likely never seen this site before, or at least had to attack this site before. Right. Man, it's going to start off pretty well. A fantastic pre-fire from Val onto Turlu, who clearly was spotted out by a drone, and that pre-fire was enabled because of it. But I don't know if the Valkyries are fully aware that there are two more players sitting close behind. You'll have Verb on the dock sitting in bedroom, joined by Moshizo tucked here in the bathroom. Looks like 2 kills are going to be found, but this time it's for Gugu Dolls as Marmalade and Verb find 2 between them, silencing Bear and Val, removing so much of the soft destruction that is necessary for a bomb site like this. Now Psyche, actually all on her lonesome, tucked away here in gym now, is able to get 1 player down, but Verb, as the dock, will be back up in no time and in this fight.
Yep, and that is the specialty, of course, of Doc. But, oh, here's the run-up from Goddess. She just narrowly misses some key shots. I believe Psyche dropping down, but it might not matter, as in the meantime, her team will equalize once again.
You got 1.
2 versus 2. Goddess and Marmalade, again, you know, with basically the Roni and the Roni with more bullets, up against an Ace and a Zero, who do also have pretty competent weapons. Goddess is going to position herself towards the bottom of main stairs. She can hear Zeal making a racket on the stairs above her. They've got the yellow pings as well. And here comes the swing. Easy kill for Goddess. It's Psyche all alone. She's got 2 kills, but she's going to have to find 2 more. She'll start to open up the pool wall, but does she have any info at all to go off of? And she's up against Marmalade and Goddess, you know, the T2 and above. Really the only players, I think, in the entire league who have played T2 and above. Got quite the task ahead of her. She'll land a very nice shot onto Marmalade. Only 1 more. Onto Goddess. And now, while the Alibi doesn't deal a lot of damage, Psyche's going to have to land her shots, especially as she's low HP. The Alibi does a very high fire rate weapon. Here's the peak. Psyche nearly nabs it. But again, that low HP really does her in. Goddess, despite looking at the wrong side of the door frame, ends up flicking back. And Gugu Dolls take 3 in a row.
Yeah, Goddess loving that MX4 Storm, and, well, it's a formidable weapon, especially since its recent addition of that 1.5 scope. So we're seeing a lot of fraggers like to pick that up, especially when, you know, we're seeing Alibi here and there brought by players, you know, across every tier of Siege. We saw it in Pro League recently in the NAL. It's interesting, and her primary utility isn't the greatest, but doesn't really matter when you have an MX4 Storm and you're someone like Goddess with all of that gun skill and all of the confidence to just swing out, take a couple of fights, and use that fire rate to her advantage. That's 3 rounds in a row now for the Gugu Dolls. Seems that they cannot be stopped, even though it came pretty close in that last round with Psyche in that 1v2 situation, turning that into a 1v1. But that means with those 3 in a row completed, Gugu Dolls can go back to their initial rotation. They're going to head back downstairs now to Church and Arsenal to make something happen.
Yep. I always poke fun at Psyche too. I always poke fun of her. I know, like, every time I cast Psyche, I always bring up our 1v1 record. how she, I think it was like 22 and 2 or something. She in round count, but and she's like silver or whatever. So I always poke fun at Psyche, but the fact that she has 3 kills and she got that down to a 1v1. She was the saving grace for her team. I'm proud of her. Every time Psyche gets a kill against like a really good team like Gugu Dolls, I'm like, wow, maybe Psyche's not as bad as I thought. Yeah, she's on top frag. Look at you, Psyche. You go. I'm proud of you. But as well as she's doing for herself, her team is still down 3-0, which is kind of, honestly, it's what I expected. And it's not because Valkyries are, like, just bad or anything. They're just outclassed. The experience that Gugu Dolls have and just the sheer amount of gun skill they have at their disposal compared to all the other teams in Eris, it's really, really hard to try and take one over them.
Yeah, I mean, where we're sitting at right now, 3-0, it's not too surprising. We'd be making, a bigger deal out of it if that were the case. But still, the Valkyries, they've got a chance. They showed it in that last round. They're not too far off from taking some of these, especially if they can exploit the kind of gameplay that Gugu Dolls are bringing to the table right now. They're playing like they have nothing to lose, and frankly, that's fair enough. They're playing out of their minds, and clearly they are the better team right now. But if Valkyries can sit back, understand that Gugu Dolls are going to start swinging them, someone like Goddess is going to come flying around a corner every other second, they can maybe be aware of that and get a couple of free kills, despite what I thought may happen here, especially with Val on this top floor initial clear against Marmalade. Marmalade is going to stay patient. She's not going to run out and swing, even though she tempted that for just a moment. Instead, she's going to sit back, hold those vertical angles, while the rest of the team now groups up and sits downstairs to defend from a potential circumvention of this roam in a direct dirt push. You now see this shift coming in from Val as well. Valkyries could get something going pretty quickly if they see an opening.
Curler tries to take a pre-fire against the player in dirt, and while dealing good damage, she takes a little bit for herself. But again, there's those Thunderbird gadgets. They're so powerful in the sense that you can take these aggressive fights, and unless your opponent lands the headshot, you're really, like, that punishment is nullified. Val will be the first death as Turler finds another onto Bear, once again pre-firing it in dirt. Lauren gets another one. She finds more. No! She won't get what she's looking for. She'll be finished off by Ancient One. Zeal downstairs as well. Finishes off Goddess, but it's still a one-man disadvantage for this attack. Ancient One and Zeal need to push in and try and make something happen in the next 25 seconds. We'll try and gather more info using those zero cams, but I'm not quite sure if they were able to spot Turler out just yet as she continues to battle against dirt, all by her lonesome, supported by those Kona stations. Here's the flank from Marmalade. She gets a little bit too overzealous, finished off by Ancient One, but they've got a funnel right into Bourbon Turler, and there's really not any safe way out of this one for the attack. Here comes the push. Down goes one, and down goes the second. 4 rounds in a row for Demons.
It was actually hard to tell there because there was so much going on, actually, with that site push. But what was happening there is Marmalade was outside the building for like 10 to 15 seconds, just being as much of a nuisance as possible. And just think, as an attacker, when you're trying to focus on the site, you know you have to push through dirt, you have no time left, you have that one option, and all of a sudden you see a blaring red glow on your screen that's like enemy detected outdoors. You know it's coming from behind you, you can see them through the wall, but there's nothing you can do about it. At that point, Marmalade's job was simply to waste time, cause even more panic than the Valkyries already had as they just cuddled up in dirt for their last remaining, standoff, I suppose. But that's a job well done for Marmalade. That's really all you had to do. Even though she ended up dying, she enabled those last few seconds to just find their way off the clock. Gave Gugu Dolls another fantastic round. A lot of kills to be found on the site itself. Great play from Lauren Mochizo there, who just really did a number to that attack, finding a double kill, I believe, in that round, and really giving the Gugu Dolls furthering that edge. 4-0 now as we head to round number 5. And with these final 2 rounds of the defensive half to finish off here, I know the Valkyries believe this could not end soon enough. They're just hoping to get out of this half alive, maybe with 1 round under their belt. Now's the time to make it happen.
Yeah, that last round was, I think, definitely the most dominant we've seen from Gugu Dolls. which is definitely saying something. You know, they've gone 4 rounds, and most of these rounds have been decently close from Valkyries. You know, they've at least made a really good effort. They haven't just gotten completely mowed over. But Lauren is taking a very aggressive stance in the garage behind that kind of checkerboard pattern on the metal, and unfortunately, Zeal will whiff her shots. And Lauren finds the headshot onto the 0. So no more of those flank cams available. That hard breach gadget gone. And the attackers still haven't dealt with Goddess. Now, they'll be able to open up a little bit of the wall. That'll deny any further bandit tricking from Goddess, but they've only got 1 ace charge left, and it'll be burned just as we speak. That is a pretty narrow hole to work through on the main breach, and the Mozzie, still playing aggressively, finds her second outside.
I mean, Gugu Dolls are just showing right now that if Valkyries are not covering every angle, holding every flank, and being as disciplined as possible, they are not going to take a single round. Lauren is going to get yet another, I'd argue, undeserved kill, just spraying up onto the rooftop and taking out yet another Valkyries attacker, just hoping to get an eye on the objective. Ancient One, the last player standing, will be able to pick up 2 as Gugu Dolls send 2 bodies at just a doorway, hoping to get some intel of where Ancient One is positioned. But after those 2 losses, we'll see how they respond. Maybe Burb is going to go for another swing here, but any swing there from the Wamai is going to net them just about nothing, because Ancient One has rotated around now to the CCTV window, where she'll be working her way up and just hoping for more just face checks and hoping for more swings from Gugu Dolls, which honestly is not a bad plan. It's happened twice in this round. Well, happened, I guess, 4 times in this round, but twice did it actually net a kill for Ancient One. And now she's just hoping she'll be able to finish out the round by staring through this window. But it looks like Gugu Dolls are playing a little bit more patient now. They're going to sit back and really force Ancient One to make a move herself.
She's playing for the Eris GG right now. And, I assume this entire time, she's probably been talking with her team. At least I would certainly hope, as she lands 1 whole bullet into Burb's leg, which is, you know, immediately rectified thanks to the condensation. Marmalade, as you can see, very bored. So bored that she's going to lose her life as Ancient One finds her 3rd, but that's all the Thatcher is going to be able to nab. Bird and Turler, they're not going to overexpose themselves, although Burb nearly gets the kill at the very last moments. But now it's 5 in a row. It is 5-0 for Gugu Dolls. We have yet to see a concrete answer for any of these defenses. Valkyries look a little bit lost.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They haven't quite found any answer, and even though we're seeing them try to change up a little bit of their playstyle, maybe in the beginning of the round, they're trying to allow Gugu Dolls to swing into them and see if they can take advantage. It's simply not working quite enough. 1 point in that last round, which I think is worth mentioning, not only for this game, which looks like it'll be rather quick, but for the future, just generally in Siege, is those Kona stations from Thunderbird. They're going to have a lot more of an impact than I initially thought, Harrison. I mean, we saw how the aggression of Gugu Dolls, it was being, you know, somewhat punished, right? Maybe a couple of bullets were found onto a leg or an arm of a swinging defender as they maybe recoiled back and went to hide behind a wall again. But with a Kona station sitting right there, all they have to do is take, 3 steps over to the corner, get stimmed back up, and then it's like that fight never happened. Not only that, but they have more health. They're over-stimmed for that next fight. It's like it's rewarding that aggressive play style, and I'm excited. I'm excited for what that might mean for the future.
I want to see the Cap get an interrogation.
Same.
I want it. I want it. I want it real bad, Jonah. As Bear is already dead for Lauren. All right, Lauren. Playing it like it's ranked. Like she's on her own personal stream. That's what we love to see. I don't remember what her Twitch is, whether it's Ren or Lauren21. But it's one of those. She streams. Go follow her. Lauren's a good friend of mine. And she's part of the Asian community. Yeah. Never enough of those in Siege. Love my brethren, my countrymen. Marmalade, wandering around as the Cav, has not been contested just yet. She'll go down to the basement, likely looking for a main flank later in the round, or maybe even getting that accursed punch hole in dirt to look at Jacuzzi. Zeal, why did you use 4? You can use 2, and it'll open the hatch because it's soft. I'm a little bit upset that she just wasted a whole 4 pellets on that, but, you know, I digress. It's whatever. They still have an ace, so, you know, it's plenty of hard match. I'm not quite sure why Ancient One is in strip, but she's holding A flank as Val finds the first kill for her team onto Bird.
We got a little bit of a snooze coming back from Val in retaliation to Marm's earlier remarks at the end of round number 5. We're claiming there's no toxicity, so everyone should relax. But really, it seems like it's in good spirits for the most part. But good spirits aren't gonna win Valkyries around. I can tell you that. They only have a minute to work with, and they have made shockingly little progress into this building. The one thing they have done is Psyche has opened up that Jacuzzi wall with those Selma charges, now putting down another. And in fact, and I think for the first time in this map, they now have the advantage. Twofold now, because Goddess has fallen, Psyche claiming yet another kill, leaving Turler and Lauren to fend for themselves. Probably aggression is their answer. That's kind of been their answer to every problem so far, and it will pay off at least the first time. Turler gets that headshot onto Psyche, now forcing the rest of Valkyries to find their way back with 30 seconds to go.
2v3 is very doable, and the case has been dropped outside on the breach. Lauren finds the equalizer, and what was a 4 versus 2 has slipped away from the attack. We will only need 2 more kills to keep their perfect record. Turler will put 1 nail in the coffin, and they're looking for the second. Ancient One picking up that case, still outside, gets heavily lit up from Jim. She's got to make her way through this breach with only 8 seconds left, and it seems like she is going to waste the time away once again. Here's the swing from the Mozzie. Lauren gets taken down, but Turler, well, she's smarter than that. She's not going to expose herself. Gugu Dolls take a flawless 6-0 half.
That is certainly a way to send a message. That is brutal. And to be honest, it wasn't until that round where I really felt that Valkyries were making some mistakes, right? I mean, obviously they were making some mistakes leading up to this point. You don't get, 5-0, 6-0 half just because the opponent is outplaying you, but that is what it felt like for the most part. Gugu Dolls were just playing better. They were playing more confident, and that aggression was paying off. But in that previous round, the story was very different. It was almost reversed. It was a 4v2 with the Valkyries on top, and you could say there was limited time, but 40 seconds to go with a 2-player advantage is more than enough to find success, especially on Gym and Bedroom, a site that can be won by brute forcing your way in and out-fragging your opponent. But instead of using that advantage and trying to push into the site and make something happen, Valkyries, they made a fatal mistake of continuing the pattern of sitting back and waiting. It worked out for them so far, so I understand, why they chose to continue the same strategy in that round, because those earlier kills were found after they opened a wall and held an angle, right? So that strategy, I see where they're coming from, but unfortunately, against players on Gugu Dolls, if they know they're in the disadvantage, they are no longer going to peek you. And Valkyries found that out the hard way, holding angles until the round was simply over, and they had not enough time to work with to make something happen.
5 seconds left before
Gugu Dolls bringing quite the operator lineup. Jonah?
It's a spicy one.
A 0 in IQ and a fuse. This is how you know that they are confident and they want to frag. 0, even though he's not the most useful operator on this map. Well, not that he's not useful, because there's tends to be better picks than him on this map. Well, his SC3000K is basically like an R4C with a little bit less bullets. It is extremely good. And with the new fuse buff, well, you can fuse hard surfaces. The only danger here is that Ancient One, well, she's bandit tricking, so this fuse will be very unsuccessful. They're also going to try and hard breach gadget it. All right, they'll get one side open. I guess, yeah, it sort of worked. They sacrificed all they sacrificed was single cluster charge, and Burb is going to use her second on it because, well, they have no other hard breach. So they've got the wall open, sort of, but they're two very, very small holes away.
But at least it's something. Honestly, I'm surprised they got that much done. I thought Ancient One was going to hold that down. I mean, she still has 3 batteries left, but she just simply got forced out of position and didn't want to overstay her welcome. It seems that she tried to retake that position, and she will pay the ultimate price. Falling there, Bear, the next player to get taken down, giving Gugu Dolls yet another tremendous advantage. Wait a second, Burb's in the site. She'll take down Zeal. Val responds with a kill of her own, and Psyche is there to recover a little bit more ground. Goddess and Moshizo, however, will just swoop in, get those final 2 kills, and just like that, a clean 7-0 victory is delivered for the Gugu Dolls over the Valkyries. Made quick work of Clubhouse.
Yep, a 7-0. Very fast, as you said, from Gugu Dolls, and that is what happens when you take a team like that to a map like Clubhouse. And I mean, again, it's really not all on Valkyries. They're just an inexperienced team. That's really all it is. They're fairly new to comp, if I'm not mistaken. At least most of the members are, and Gugu Dolls have been around for a while. So it's understandable that they're going to get thrashed like that. So, don't be too down bad about it. Hold your heads high. Just learn from it. Take it as a learning experience. So, well played to Gugu Dolls. Easy 7-0 for them. They remain undefeated in the season, and well, that's it. Jonah, we're done. That's the only 2
Yeah, it
games
was
we
quick.
had.
That was like, I don't know, 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was pretty fast. Those are the only 2 games we had on the community stream today. I'm not sure if there are more on Eris. If you want to try tuning in, you can go to twitch.tv/Project Eris for more. Follow them on Twitter as well for updates. And I believe the next games will be Thursday. But yeah, we are going to send it to Project Eris. So thank you all for joining us on once again another community cast. We love you. Thank you to the teams for playing, and we will see you next time.